all the time, and I really do feel that the media on the left has made it okay. And I do just want to add that my biography, which I submitted, you reduced it to one sentence, calling me just a conservative activist, and it wasn't what I said or what I submitted to your office last night. And I just think that you opened with anti-black bias, and I see it coming from the chairman today.
In the revered chambers of Congress, a poignant session unfolds, focusing on the alarming spread of white nationalism across social platforms. Key figures, including members of the House Judiciary Committee, grapple with the intricate dynamics of online hate speech and its real-world implications. The discussion delves into the challenges faced by tech giants in curbing racially and religiously targeted vitriol, spotlighting the urgency of the issue. This hearing marks a significant moment as it shines a light on the pervasive and often hidden biases within our digital society.
Before we go to the next witness, I want to read two paragraphs from a Washington Post story that was just posted online. A congressional hearing to explore the spread of white nationalism on social media, meaning this hearing, quickly served to illustrate the problem Silicon Valley faces after anonymous users on YouTube began posting vitriolic attacks that targeted others on the basis of race and religion. The hearing held by the House Judiciary Committee was streamed live on the video site owned by Google, which is testifying Tuesday. Alongside the stream, a live chat featured posts from users, some of whom published anti-Semitic screeds and argued that white nationalism is not a form of racism. These Jews want to destroy all white nations, wrote, I won't put in the name. Anti-hate is a code word for anti-white, wrote another, etc. So this just illustrates part of the problem we're dealing with.
Could that be a hate hoax?
What?
Could that be another hate hoax? Just keep an open mind.
All I know is what I just read. The gentleman from Arizona, Mr. Biggs.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I ask unanimous consent to include in the record a list of political violence perpetrated or promoted by leftist organizations.
Without objection.
Thank you. And I also, I'm riffing on something that Mr. Buck, gentleman from Colorado, was talking about. But in the listing of witnesses in the chairman's memo, it did something I've not seen in my brief time in Congress, or indeed in my many years of legislative service in my home state. That is an editorial comment about a witness. Some might even consider that this not so subtle editorializing is in and of itself an indicia of animus. It's unfortunate, but it demonstrates how easy it is to let one's bias appear even in what is supposed to be an innocuous listing of witnesses for this hearing.
Would the gentleman yield?
Yes, I will yield, sir.
I assume you're referring to what is written about Candace Owens, where it says she's a director of communications at the conservative advocacy group Turning Point USA and a conservative commentator and political activist known for her criticism of Black Lives Matter and of the Democratic Party. I don't think she could quarrel with the accuracy of that. It's a simple statement of who she is.
Reclaiming my time. What I will say about this is you never ever see anybody characterized in any other list of witnesses. This is the first time I've ever seen that, other than the stating what they represent or the group that they are from. This is seemingly anyway, going beyond the bounds of what is the norm.
As the hearing intensifies, the discourse sharpens its focus on the complexities of hate speech and its impact on social harmony. Accusations of biased treatment and a lack of consistent standards in addressing hate speech come to the forefront, challenging the norms of political correctness. Candace Owens' testimony becomes a flashpoint addressing the hostility faced by black conservatives and the perceived media bias against them. This moment underscores the nuanced battle between freedom of speech and the escalation of divisive rhetoric. Amidst these revelations, the need for unequivocal condemnation of all forms of hate speech, regardless of its source, is emphasized, highlighting a pivotal challenge in contemporary social and political discourse.
As you talk, Ms. Owens, and you go to universities, like you're going to UConn tonight, do you receive hate speech directed at you?
All the time, and I really do feel that the media on the left has made it okay. And I do just want to add that my biography, which I submitted, you reduced it to one sentence, calling me just a conservative activist, and it wasn't what I said or what I submitted to your office last night.
And
And I just think that you opened with anti-black bias, and I see it coming from the chairman.
The hearing draws to a close, leaving a resonant message about the deep-seated issues of hate speech and societal biases. It calls for a balanced and fair approach to tackle these issues, emphasizing the need for consistent standards across communities. This session in Congress serves as a critical reminder of the ongoing struggle against bias and hate, urging a collective effort for a more equitable and understanding society. A moment of reckoning, it invites the audience to reflect on the role of digital platforms, societal values, and the imperative for comprehensive action.
These efforts to shut you down when you speak publicly on issues that you care about under the protection of the First Amendment, are they peaceful?
No, they're really scary. They threaten us online perpetually. I receive threatening letters to my home when the media drums up narratives and pretends that I hate black people or that I hate gays or that I hate Muslims with no evidence supporting any of those claims. What they're inviting is for people to think it's okay to be violent towards me when they see me. They want to make it an act of virtue for people to be violent towards black conservatives that are outspoken.
And there are on occasion false accusations and staged hate crimes. What impact do those have on actual, real hate crimes?
It makes it harder, I think, for people to come forward or for people to believe it. I don't see enough condemning of what Jussie Smollett did to this nation in terms of tearing us apart and causing a debate. And obviously the left was quick to believe him and put him on a platform despite absolutely no evidence. And it just makes it harder. Again, it just makes it harder for us to come together as a nation, which I think is what the president is trying to do, bring everybody together.
And Ms. Owens, are you familiar with the case of Isabella Chow, who is a UC Berkeley senator who was harassed because of a position she took?
I'm not.
Well, Ms. Chow took a position of basically abstaining from a vote due to religious concerns and was harassed out of her position, and she was hate speech galore, all arising and going forward. So it isn't that there isn't hate speech. It's that we need to condemn all hate speach.
That's
thoughts?
correct. I definitely agree. We need to condemn all hate speech. There's only one type of hate speech like that they like to talk about and give a platform to. There is a double standard in this country, and that double standard, I think, is being felt the most by black conservatives, the Jewish community, and Christians.
And so, Mr. Klein, thank you, Ms. Owens. Mr. Klein, you remember the chairman agreeing to give you an extra 30 seconds because of the interruption that you experienced during your opening statement. And then do you remember being gavelled down by the chairman once you began speaking of the anti-Semitic remarks by a member of Congress? And we've just timed this. You only got 12 seconds. I have 30 seconds left, and so I'm going to give you those 30 seconds that you were promised and were denied.
Well, I am deeply pained that after a congresswoman from Minnesota called Israel evil, hypnotized the world, Israel's an apartheid state, Jews used their money to promote what they won out of Congress, that this woman was defended by leaders of her party, defended by at least 3 members of her party who are running for president, with no consequence. She should have been removed from all of her committees just the way Stephen King was, for this unbelievable outburst of hatred toward Jewish people. In fact, there's actually a member of this very committee who publicly called Jews termites of this committee, and there was no consequence to that outrageous statement. So this is really frightening to me, especially as a child of Holocaust survivors. If there's not consequence to this type of hate speech against Jews, you're only going to get more of it. We're only going to embolden people to continue this, and ultimately, hate speech turns into physical violence. That's been true.